Let me ask you a question that might feel a little uncomfortable. Are you over 60 years old and noticing that the world feels slightly heavier? Maybe climbing a flight of stairs, something you used to do without thinking, now leaves you breathless or requires a grip on the handrail. Maybe getting out of a low chair demands a groan and a heave, or perhaps your legs just don't carry you with the same steady confidence they did 10 years ago. You might look in the mirror, see the changes in your body, and think, well, this is just aging. It's inevitable. It happens to everyone. But here is what most people and even many doctors do not realize. A large part of this decline, this feeling of becoming frail or slowing down, is not inevitable. It is not a destiny written in stone. It is a specific physiological condition called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia literally translates to poverty of flesh. It means the gradual, silent loss of muscle mass, strength, and function with age. And here is the surprising, perhaps even shocking truth that we are going to explore today. The trajectory of your strength, your independence, and your vitality is often decided within the first 2 hours of your day. Specifically, the very first meal you eat in the morning can either accelerate this decline, pushing you faster toward frailty, or it can completely change the trajectory, flipping a biological switch that begins rebuilding your body. Now, why does this matter so much? Because muscle is not just about strength. It is not about looking toned in a t-shirt or having big biceps. That is a vanity metric for you right now. Muscle is an active organ system. It is your metabolic engine. Your muscles regulate your blood sugar. They protect your joints from arthritis. They store amino acids that your immune system needs to fight off infections. They even communicate with your brain through chemical signals called myokines to keep your memory sharp. When muscle breaks down, it sets off a domino effect. Balance declines. Insulin resistance creeps in. Metabolism slows down to a crawl. And the risk of falls, fractures, and the loss of independence rises sharply. In fact, research shows that after the age of 60, people can lose up to 1% of their muscle mass every single year unless they actively intervene. But here is the hopeful news, and the reason I am making this video today. What you choose for breakfast can begin reversing this process in as little as 24 hours. This is not hype. It is physiology. In this deep dive masterclass, I am going to break down exactly what science now shows about the connection between breakfast, sarcopenia, and leg strength. We are not just going to talk about eating healthy. We are going to cover the root causes of age-related muscle decline, the exact foods and nutrients that trigger rapid improvements, how timing makes all the difference, and even the lifestyle tweaks that amplify the effect. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will not only understand the physiology of your own body, you will have a clear, actionable protocol you can apply tomorrow morning. If you are looking to protect your independence, energy, and longevity after 60, this may be one of the most important videos you ever watch. Let's start with the biggest misconception. Here is what most people get wrong about protein after 60 years of age. They think, I eat healthy, I have a piece of chicken at dinner, maybe an egg now and then, but the timing and the quality are often completely off balance. In the United States and Europe, the typical breakfast is carbohydrate heavy. We are talking about toast with jam, a bowl of oatmeal, a sugary cereal, or maybe just coffee and a banana. Then, people might have a sandwich for lunch, and finally, a large steak or chicken breast for dinner. That pattern-loading protein at the end of the day sets the stage for sarcopenia. Here is the science of why. Your muscles have what I call an anabolic threshold. This is a minimum level of amino acids required in your blood to switch on the machinery of muscle protein synthesis, MPS. Think of muscle protein synthesis as the process of repairing the cracks in a brick wall. Now, imagine your muscles are like a room with a light switch. In your 20s or 30s, that light switch is very sensitive. You could eat a small amount of protein, maybe just 10 or 15 grams, and click, the light turns on, and your body starts building muscle. But as we age, specifically after 50 and 60, our bodies develop something called anabolic resistance. This means the muscle becomes deaf to the signals of protein, the light switch gets sticky, it becomes hard to flip. If you only give your body 10 grams of protein in the morning like you would get from a bowl of oatmeal or a single egg, the switch never flips. You remain in the dark. The building process simply does not happen. Research from the Journal of Nutrition confirms that elderly individuals require a significantly higher protein dose per meal to overcome this resistance. You need about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein to force that switch to flip. But it is not just about the total number of grams. It is about the quality. And when I say quality, I am talking about a specific amino acid called leucine. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you are trying to start a car on a cold winter morning. A weak turn of the key will not start the engine. It just clicks. You need a full, powerful ignition spark. In your body, that spark is leucine. Leucine is an essential amino acid found abundantly in animal products like eggs, whey protein, lean poultry, and dairy, as well as in fermented soy like tempeh. When leucine levels spike in your blood, they trigger a specific pathway inside the muscle cell called mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as the foreman of a construction crew. When the foreman is asleep, the workers stand around doing nothing, no matter how many bricks amino acids are lying around. But when leucine enters the room, it wakes up the foreman. The foreman yells, "Get to work," and suddenly, the crew starts building new muscle protein. Without that threshold amount of leucine, roughly 5 to 3 grams in a single meal, the foreman stays asleep. This is why a breakfast of toast and coffee fails you. It provides calories, yes, but it provides zero signal to your muscles to maintain themselves. So, let's translate this into actionable solutions. What does a sarcopenia fighting breakfast actually look like? Option 1, the classic powerhouse. 3 whole eggs plus a scoop of whey protein or a side of egg whites. Why 3 eggs? That gives you about 18 grams of protein. It's good, but not enough to hit the 30-gram threshold. That is why you add the whey protein or extra whites to push you over the line. This combination is rich in leucine and fully activates mTOR. Option 2, the dairy defender. Greek yogurt or Icelandic skyr. But be careful, you need the strained, high-protein variety, not the sugary, flavored kind. 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt delivers about 20 grams of protein. Mix in a handful of walnuts or almonds and some chia seeds, and you are approaching that 30-gram target. The casein protein in dairy is slow digesting, which provides a steady stream of amino acids to your muscles for hours. Option 3. The plant-based protocol. If you don't eat dairy or eggs, this is harder, but not impossible. You cannot just rely on oatmeal. You need fermented soy, like tempeh, or a high-quality pea and rice protein blend. Research suggests that plant proteins have less anabolic effect than animal proteins, so you actually need to eat more of them, perhaps 35 grams, to get the same effect. The takeaway here is precision. You cannot guess. If you are serious about keeping your legs strong, you need to count that protein at breakfast. Aim for 30 grams. That single shift can begin reversing sarcopenia in as little as 24 hours because you are finally turning the machinery on instead of leaving it off. Now that we have covered the building blocks, we need to talk about the hormonal environment. Most people think of insulin only in the context of diabetes. But here is the truth. Insulin is one of the most powerful levers that determines whether your muscles are nourished or starved. And breakfast is the most dangerous time of day to get this wrong. Let's look at what is really going on inside your body. You wake up. You have been fasting for 8 to 10 hours. Your body is empty. If you eat a high-carbohydrate breakfast, think of the standard continental breakfast with bagels, croissants, fruit juice, or sugary muffins, your blood sugar skyrockets. Your pancreas responds by pumping out a massive wave of insulin. Insulin's job is to clear sugar from the blood. On the surface, that sounds good. But here is the problem. High insulin levels do two things that are disastrous for older adults. First, high insulin shuts down fat burning. It locks the doors to your fat stores. Second, and more importantly, for sarcopenia, high insulin without high protein can lead to insulin resistance in the muscle. Think of insulin like a traffic cop. When traffic sugar is heavy, the cop waves it all into the parking lot. But in older adults, the parking lot at the muscle gym often has its gates closed because the muscle cells are resistant. So, the traffic cop waves all that energy into the fat storage lot instead. This is the tragedy of the modern breakfast. You eat energy, but your muscles starve while your belly fat grows. This leads to a condition where your muscles are essentially malnourished, even if you are overweight. The key is not to fear insulin, but to control the morning spike so that muscles stay sensitive. Research in diabetes care shows that older adults who eat a high-protein, lower-carbohydrate breakfast maintain better insulin sensitivity throughout the entire day. In other words, what you eat at 8:00 a.m. sets the hormonal tone for the next 12 hours. So, how do we fix this? Step 1. Eliminate naked carbs. Never eat carbohydrates alone in the morning. A banana is not breakfast. Toast is not breakfast. These are naked carbs. They convert to glucose instantly. Step 2. The fiber firewall. If you are going to have carbohydrates, like berries or oats, you must bury them in protein and fiber. Fiber acts like a firewall. It slows down the digestion of sugar, preventing that massive spike. Step 3. The sponge analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a dry sponge. In the morning, if you pour a thick, sticky syrup sugar over a dry sponge, it just coats the surface and clogs the pores. But if you pour water, protein, and fluids, it absorbs deeply. By keeping your breakfast low glycemic, you keep the pores of your muscles open and receptive to nutrients. One fascinating study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that when older adults consumed a low glycemic breakfast, their muscles used glucose more efficiently, and their energy levels remained steady without the mid-morning crash. That translates to stronger legs and steadier walking. We have talked about protein and insulin. Now we need to address the silent killer of muscle inflammation. You might think inflammation is just about a swollen knee or an aching back. But there is something called inflammaging, a chronic, low-grade inflammation that simmers in the background of almost everyone over 60. Here is what is happening. As we age, our immune system becomes a little confused. It releases inflammatory markers called cytokines, specifically IL-6 and TNF-alpha. When these levels are chronically high, they act like a corrosive acid to your muscle tissue. They interfere with the muscle's ability to repair itself. Remember our construction crew analogy. Inflammation is like a severe thunderstorm at the construction site. The foreman mTOR is awake. The bricks protein are there, but the storm is so bad that the workers cannot effectively lay the bricks. They are too busy trying to protect the site from damage. This is why simply eating protein isn't enough. If your body is inflamed, you are fighting an uphill battle. So, your breakfast needs to be an anti-inflammatory prescription. How do we do that? We introduce 3 specific elements. 1. Omega-3 fatty acids. These are non-negotiable. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that supplementing with omega-3s actually improved muscle protein synthesis in older adults, even without extra exercise. Why? Because omega-3s make the muscle cell membrane more fluid and sensitive. They essentially waterproof the construction workers so they can work in the rain. Action. Add fatty fish, like smoked salmon, to your breakfast, or add 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds or chia seeds to your yogurt. 2. Antioxidant pigments. You need to eat colors. The deep blues, reds, and greens in plants contain polyphenols that neutralize the free radicals caused by inflammation. Action. A handful of blueberries is not just a garnish, it is medicine. Spinach in your omelet acts as a cellular shield. 3. The spice cabinet. There is one spice that stands above the rest: turmeric. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories known to science. A 2019 study showed it improved muscle recovery in older adults. Action. Add a pinch of turmeric and black pepper to help absorption to your scrambled eggs. It changes the color, adds a warm flavor, and calms the storm in your body. Have you ever wondered why, even if your muscles look okay, you just feel tired? Why walking up that hill feels like wading through molasses? That is not just a muscle fiber problem. That is a mitochondria problem. Mitochondria are the microscopic power plants inside your cells. They take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and turn it into ATP, the energy currency of life. In your leg muscles, there are thousands of these power plants. But after age 60, mitochondrial function naturally declines. The power plants get old. They become smoky and inefficient. They produce less energy and more waste. This is a huge driver of sarcopenia. The exciting news: you can trigger mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new power plants, through your morning routine. There is a specific compound that is making waves in longevity research called urolithin A. Your body produces this when you eat foods rich in elagitannins, like pomegranates and walnuts. Urolithin A triggers a process called mitophagy, where the cell recycles old, broken mitochondria and replaces them with fresh, new ones. Imagine replacing the old, coal-burning engine in your car with a brand-new electric motor. That is what these foods do. Another key nutrient is coenzyme Q10, CoQ10, found in organ meats and fatty fish, which helps the sparks fly within the engine. So, a mitochondrial breakfast might look like this: a bowl of Greek yogurt protein topped with pomegranate seeds for urolithin A and walnuts for omega-3s and elagitannins. This is not just a tasty meal. It is high-octane fuel for your leg muscles. Researchers from the University of Copenhagen found that older adults who consumed polyphenol-rich foods and paired them with activity had significantly better mitochondrial density. This means you don't just get stronger, you get more endurance. You can walk further, play with your grandkids longer, and travel without fatigue. We have covered the what, now we must cover the when. If you are over 60, your body lives and dies by its circadian rhythm, the internal biological clock. This clock governs your hormones, digestion, and repair cycles. Here is a fact that surprises many. Your body processes protein and carbohydrates completely differently at 8:00 a.m. than it does at 8:00 p.m. In the morning, your insulin sensitivity is at its peak. Your body is primed to absorb nutrients and send them to muscle tissue. In the evening, your body naturally becomes more insulin resistant as it prepares for sleep. If you eat a heavy steak dinner at 8:00 p.m., much of that protein is wasted or converted to glucose and stored as fat because the muscle factories are closing down for the night. But if you eat that same protein at 8:00 a.m., it is utilized with high efficiency. This concept is called protein front-loading. Most people back-load their protein. They eat little all day and feast at night. You need to flip this. You want to consume a significant portion of your daily protein, at least 30 grams, within 1 to 2 hours of waking up. Why 1-2 hours? Because cortisol, the stress hormone, is naturally high in the morning to wake you up. If you don't eat, cortisol starts breaking down muscle tissue for energy. By eating protein early, you blunt that cortisol response and switch the body from breakdown mode to build mode. The action step: do not wait until 11:00 a.m. or noon to eat. If you are not hungry immediately, that is okay. But try to get that protein in by 9:30 or 10:00 a.m. at the latest, and absolutely avoid the late-night snacking habit. Eating late disrupts the release of growth hormone, which happens while you sleep. You want an empty stomach when you go to bed so your body can focus on repair, not digestion. Finally, we arrive at the catalyst that makes all of this work. Food alone is powerful, but food plus movement is magic. Think of it like this: protein provides the bricks, but exercise provides the construction permit. If you eat 30 grams of protein but spend the next 4 hours sitting in a chair watching TV, your body says, well, we have these bricks, but nobody is asking us to build anything. So, a lot of that potential is wasted. But if you combine that high-protein breakfast with what we call an exercise snack, the results are exponential. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that older adults who moved their muscles shortly after eating protein had nearly double the rate of muscle synthesis compared to those who just ate alone. And please, do not be intimidated. I am not talking about driving to the gym and lifting heavy barbells, though that is great if you can do it. I am talking about mechanical tension. Your muscles need to feel a load. Here is your morning protocol 1. Eat your high-protein breakfast, the eggs, the yogurt, the salmon. 2. Wait about 30 to 45 minutes. Let digestion start. 3. Perform 10 to 15 minutes of leg activation. What does leg activation look like? The kitchen counter squat. Hold onto your kitchen counter. Sit back as if sitting in a chair, then stand up strong. Do 10 reps. Rest. Do it again. The stair climb. If you have stairs, walk up and down them for 5 minutes. Calf raises. While brushing your teeth or waiting for the kettle, rise up on your toes and lower down slowly. When you do this after eating, your blood is full of amino acids, the bricks. The movement sends blood flow specifically to your legs. You are literally driving the nutrients into the tissue where they are needed most. It also helps manage that blood sugar spike we talked about. Muscles that are moving act like a sponge for glucose, sucking it out of the bloodstream without needing as much insulin. It is a win-win for strength and metabolism. So, let's bring this all together into a clear picture. You are facing a choice every single morning. Path A is the Sarcopenia Express. It looks like toast or cereal, low protein, high sugar, sluggish mitochondria, inflammation, and sitting on the couch. This path leads to weaker legs, a fear of falling, and a shrinking world. Path B is the longevity protocol. It looks like this. 1. Protein, first 30 grams of high-quality protein eggs. Whey, Greek yogurt rich in leucine. 2. Insulin control fiber and healthy fats, no naked carbs. 3. Anti-inflammation omega-3s, berries, and turmeric. 4. Mitochondrial support pomegranate, walnuts, or green tea. 5. Timing, eat within 2 hours of waking. 6. Movement, use those leg muscles within an hour of eating. Now, I know this sounds like a lot, but you don't have to do it all perfectly tomorrow. Start with one thing, just one. Maybe tomorrow, you just swap the cereal for the eggs. That's it. See how you feel. Notice if your energy is steadier at 11:00 a.m. Notice if your brain feels clearer. Notice if your legs feel a little less heavy. The body is incredibly forgiving. Even after 60, 70, or 80 years, it wants to heal. It wants to be strong. It is just waiting for the right signals. Your breakfast is that signal. If you found this deep dive helpful, please do me a favor. Click the subscribe button. I create content like this because I believe you deserve to understand the science of your own body, so you can live not just longer, but better. And here is my question for you to answer in the comments below. What is the one typical breakfast food you are willing to swap out this week to save your muscle? Let me know. I read every comment. Go eat some protein, move your legs, and claim your independence. I'll see you in the next video.